Hi, SkySun here from SkySunStudios.com, and today I'd like to do an equalization series. And let's start off with the big question, the fundamental question: what is EQ? What is equalization? Well, to put it in a nutshell, equalization is the manipulation, the boosting or the cutting, the changing of the frequency response or the balance of the frequencies in any given sound or signal or recording. So basically, it's a volume control for certain frequencies. So you can turn down low frequencies, you could turn up mid frequencies, and then you could turn up high frequencies, all in one instance of an EQ. So in an EQ, it gives you complete control over the volume or the levels of any frequency that you can hear. So if there's a frequency you like, you can turn it up. If there's a frequency you don't like, you could turn it down with an EQ. So now that we understand the fundamentals here, let me get rid of this channel strip and let's move on to the Pro EQ in Studio One. All right, so here we have an instance of the Pro EQ in Studio One, and I'll go ahead and hide that track. All right, so we have the Pro EQ here, and it is made up of many different filters. All right, so starting at the bottom left, we have a high pass filter. I can turn it on here, and you'll see that this filter has been engaged. So it's rolling off or cutting the lower frequencies. This is where rumble can be, where AC hum can be, 50 or 60 hertz, depending on what side of the Atlantic Ocean you live on. But the main thing about a high pass filter or a low cut filter, it's the same thing. But with a high pass filter, it allows frequencies above this frequency. It allows them through pretty much left alone. It just lets those through. It lets them pass through. So a high pass filter lets frequencies above the filter pass through. All right, and frequencies below the filter are cut, they're attenuated, they are turned down. All right, so that is a high pass filter, and I think I can go ahead and cover a low pass filter, which is essentially the opposite. Okay, so a low pass filter, as you can see, above the frequency, it attenuates, it cuts frequencies, turns them down. Those are really high frequencies that it's turning down. And then below the filter, it virtually lets all of the frequencies below the filter, it lets them pass through, unaffected by the filter. All right, so if you look here, you have a frequency knob, and you can turn it to change the frequency of the filter. Same thing with a high pass filter. You can change the frequency with the knob, or you can actually grab the filter. It's a great thing in Studio One. You can grab the filter and move it with your mouse or with your cursor there. So that covers pass filters. And you can also change what's called the slope. And the slope of a filter is how it's shaped, how sharp it is, or how mild it is. If you change it to 6 dB per octave, then it will turn frequencies below the cutoff, below the filter. It will turn those frequencies down 6 dB per octave. Then the next octave, it'll turn it down 6 more dB, 6 more decibels, etc. So you have different slopes. 12 dB per octave is a little sharper. It cuts down a little further. Of course 24 dB. It's even sharper. And then you have that control over here on your low pass filter or high cut filter, whatever you want to call it. I think most prefer to call it a high pass filter or low pass filter. This would be the low pass filter. Let me see here. And of course you can change the slope of that as well. Well, that covers pass filters, and you've kind of had a chance to look at the Pro EQ in Studio One. And I hope you've learned a few things about EQ. Please come back for my next video, and come back for more from SkySun.